Okay, so I did a video probably like a year or two ago where I talked about how I moved to LA with no plan and how you can afford to live in LA. So one of the most common comments that I got was, can you tell me where your first apartment was? Because I only paid, it was like $7.95 or $8.75. So instead of just telling you guys on camera, I wanted to actually take you to my first apartment I ever lived in. So this is where I lived in 2012. We ran through that gate, so I feel like we're gonna get stopped, so I'm just gonna show you guys around really quick. They painted it. This used to look orange. I'll show you guys pictures, but actually this is where yeah, so this is my first apartment ever. Okay, so if you look, see, it's in a safe neighborhood. It's clean, typical like California. But I lived up there somewhere, so there was no elevators, so I just had to take these stairs, which is so weird. They painted it. So there's that. It was super quiet. There's a pool. I didn't really go in it though. They have a pool here. Okay. And then when you go this way, the only thing about parking in California, you have to get a covered spot. I'll show you guys my car later, but I feel like the leather in my car got fucked up because it's always sunny, but they didn't have covered parking here. But I'll show you guys my actual first spot. I'm really surprised we didn't get kicked out yet. This is where I always threw my trash because they didn't have a trash chute. But like, look at how big this parking lot is. I had 134. So it was a really big studio, and I'll put pictures in it, but I mean, you could live there with like 2 people. This is my old parking spot. But it was cool. I like the outside of it really. If you look at it, it just looks, I mean, Sherman Oaks, Van Nuys. I heard Van Nuys is like the porn capital. I didn't see any like people, but I didn't really go outside like that. But I mean, it was safe and it looks way nicer than what it did. So it was probably not $7.95 or $8.75, whatever I paid. But I'll show you guys the outside of it. I lived here for the first 8 months that I lived here. And then I ended up moving to Hollywood. I'm going to take you guys to that apartment next. But it was funny because I needed someone to take over my lease, and I ended up subleasing it to this girl that I found on Craigslist. Long story short, I found out she was a porn star. She moved here from Miami, and this bitch went missing, like at the end of whatever was the remainder of our lease. So I had to file all this stuff because I thought she died, but she didn't die. She's fine. She just left. So don't sublease to people that you don't know, especially on Craigslist. She was nice though, but yeah, this is like where the leasing office is. One thing about California when you move, so like I said, it's just open parking, but if you look at the gate, that's not really that safe. You can hop that. And then, I mean, we just walked in here without saying anything, so that's one thing I didn't like, but it was safe. So I'm gonna take you guys outside, and you can see like this whole street. It's called Sherman Way. Sherman Way just has a bunch of apartments, but I'm gonna show you guys, so you don't have to go to this one specifically. But there's a lot of street parking. Street parking is a big thing in California. If you go this way, oh here, you can show the next one. The funny thing is, no one paid me to talk about this. I'm just free marketing for all the places I live. But yeah, if you walk down the street, you just see a bunch of apartments. So if you're moving here and you just want to find a nice, cheap apartment, this is where I live. I'm obviously alive. Nothing happened to me, so it was a safe neighborhood. And yeah, this street. I'm wondering if we should walk that way. I'm gonna drive you guys up this street, and just so you know, it's very hot outside. So I'm sweating because I can't turn on the air. You won't hear me. But I'm taking you guys up like the main cross street, which is Sepulveda, so you can see what's around this area. So what I like is, if you look to the right, there's a gas station. And then if you look this way, there's a CVS, a John's. I thought that was a Ralph's. So grocery shopping here, see where I'm from, it's like Jewel. And well, they got rid of Dominick's, but it's Ralph's and John's. I like Ralph's, but there's a John's right here. And then there's a McDonald's that, I'm not gonna lie, I used to drive to even No, it's literally right there. And then there's another gas station on the same corner. I don't know why, but it's just like that out here. If you go up that way, the 405 is there. Because like the main highways here, I'll do that in another video, but like the 405 is right there, and then the 101 and the 170 is somewhere this way. But yeah, I'm going to turn on Sepulveda now, and then I'm going to show you guys just like that main street. It's so hot. Okay. Alright. Okay, so Sepulveda also has a bunch of apartments. But I mean, if you look, it's a pretty, like, it looks like a safe area. Here's that John's. Bank of America and Chase. So everything was pretty walking distance. I like this area. But then, like, if you look on the right side, it's a bunch of motels, like on that. Yeah. It's really hot. I'm basically showing you guys where, I mean, if you like going to the gym, the one time I ever had a gym membership in my life was when I lived in this apartment, and it was at the 24-hour fitness. But on this street, there's an LA Fitness, and then I'll show you guys where the 24-hour fitness is. So if you look at that, it's just an open road of stuff. So you can just, yeah. More gas stations, Domino's, Subway. So there's a lot of stuff. Wingstop. I don't really like Wingstop. Baskin Robbins, a Fresh and Easy. So yeah, this is like the Van Nuys, Sherman Oak area. I was right on the border, so that's a good area to live in. Okay, so they just remodeled this Wendy's, and I told you guys earlier there's a LA Fitness, and then look, there's like Staples, Costco, which I've never been at Costco, but I heard I need to go inside of Costco. And then I completely forgot to tell you guys that there's a Target. Target is like my #1 store. So there's a Target right up here, and then the last part is the Galleria, and then we'll go to Hollywood right after that. One thing about Target and grocery stores, they charge you 10 cents per bag. So you just got to bring your own bags or pay 10 cents for every bag. And then the last part, I need to get gas actually, so I'm going to get gas. And then the last part about this area is the Sherman Oaks Galleria. And the Galleria has everything from like Cheesecake Factory, P.F. Chang's. It's just a bunch of restaurants, and then the 24-hour fitness is in there. And they also have a movie theater, so it's just a cool place to go to just to hang out. So I'll show you guys that after I get my gas. This was the apartment I moved to because, like I said, I wanted a one-bedroom. So it's called Vida Hollywood. You can't see where my apartment was here, but it's like 3 stories, and I like it because they had covered parking. It looks like they remodeled it also, but I was paying $14.50 for a one-bedroom. But what I didn't like about it was, if you look at, see, like the front of this is cool because there's some kind of view, but my view was just the apartment building behind this building. So I paid $14.50 for a one-bedroom, but it was a 1-year lease, and when my lease was up, there's this thing, well, it's probably everywhere, your rent goes up like a couple $100 every year unless you do like a full year's lease, and I never wanted to do a full year, so they wanted to change my lease to like $17.50 for a one-bedroom, and I forget that, that's way too expensive. So if you turn around, I moved to their other building. So I lived in the one, okay, if you see that palm tree, right where like the main sign is, I was on the 3rd floor. So I moved into a studio there, and I actually shot a lot of videos in there, but I moved there, and then the studio ended up being like $13.50 a month. And it was funny because I actually liked the studio apartment more than the one-bedroom. Again, I'll show you guys like video clips and pictures of it, but I like the studio better because it wasn't like a studio, like a big room. They had a cool little arch that reminded me of a castle, so I felt like I lived in a castle. So it was really cool. So I moved there. I would go inside, but if you see at the front, there's security. Can you see it from that far? Yeah. I mean, there's security in that building, so I can't exactly walk inside and show you guys. But Hollywood's pretty, I don't want to say it's not dangerous. It's just, I said it before, Hollywood's overrated, and I'm not going to lie. I moved to Hollywood, one, because it was just, you know, when you think Hollywood, you think it's just the place to be at, but I ended up working for Ski and it was down the street from here, so that worked. But I'm just gonna show you guys how close the Hollywood Boulevard strip is from that apartment. Hollywood is good if you like going to the clubs and you like partying, doing all that. I hate all that because I just hate being around crowds. I hate people. Like, there's a club literally right there, but then when you walk, we're almost there. It's really close. This is where they have like the Walk of Fame with all the stars and stuff. But yeah, Hollywood's dirty, and there's a lot of crazy people here, and it smells like pee, and there's no parking. So the first apartment I showed you guys, it was unlimited parking. I was actually surprised we found parking by here because there's street parking, but it's all meters. You can see it like right here. It's all meters, and then the only free street parking they have is where I parked, and it's only for an hour. So that's the one bad thing about Hollywood. So if you don't have a car and you want to get around to places, that works. But if you don't have a parking spot in Hollywood, it's just a bitch to find parking. But there's a Hollywood sign. See how close it was? I mean, not the Hollywood sign, the Hollywood Boulevard street side, the Hollywood sign on the other side. So this was a cool area to live at. There's Playhouse. People always hear about Playhouse. You look down the street.
Hi guys. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking. We have a really fun tour. I know you have a really nice camera.
I live here, so I.
Well, if you want to take some shots up there, it looks kind of like a movie camera. Up there in the Hollywood Hills.
Okay.
You do that. You step out for 10 minutes.
Do this. I'm doing a video about things to do in Hollywood.
Hey,
So
why don't you take advantage? I'll give you a really good price. You step out for 10 minutes right in the hills of Hollywood.
maybe another time, but not today. But thank you.
We're gonna. Oh, is he filming you right now?
Mhm.
What kind of things
Yeah.
are you gonna recommend?
Oh, and I was just showing them just what it looked like.
So I'll give
Gotcha.
you $20 a person, no tax.
It's okay. Thank you, though. Okay. So, see, that's another thing that happens in Hollywood. People just come up to you, sell you a bunch of shit. But yeah, so you can see like Hollywood there, and then you can see my apartment was just right there. So that was my second and my third apartment, and the last place I'm taking you guys to is my apartment in Valley Village, which was just another studio, but it was I like that studio better. I just like moving a lot. And then yeah, that's the last apartment I'm going to show you, but that's not where I live now. And I'm not going to show you the apartment where I live now because I don't want people knowing where I live. So let's go to Valley Village. Okay, so the last apartment I lived in before the one I lived in now is at the Olive Tree. It's in Valley Village, and Valley Village is basically, I would say, right in between Studio City and Burbank and North Hollywood. And I really liked it here because the highway was literally one light that way, and there's another one that way. But it was called the Olive Tree. Can't exactly get inside, so that kind of makes me feel like my first apartment. Not as safe, but it's still safe because I was able to get in easily. But the management here, her name's Dara. She's really nice, but it came with covered parking. You can see the garage kind of over there. That was like the only thing I didn't like about it was to get from the front, to get to your garage, you had to go from the front and then go through there. But I mean, it's a safe area. Right to the left of it is like a daycare. So, I mean, and then right over there is a synagogue. So it's like how much dangerous shit can actually happen here. So synagogue, daycare, and then that gas station. I actually, I still live like 5 minutes from here, but I like going to that gas station because the gas is always cheap. And then there's a Papa John's like right to the minute. The other good thing about here is this whole street is free street parking. Even though it came with its own parking, there's just a lot of street parking here. And then I'll show you guys clips of my actual apartment because the video that you guys saw about how you can't afford to live in LA was in this apartment. So, and I like the little garden feel. And they do have vacancy right now. This building I had a really big studio, but they have 1 bedrooms and lofts, and then here's just more trees. Here's like the back of it. feel bad that I couldn't let you guys inside the actual apartments, but everything's blocked off, so here's the garage. I used to have the spot all the way in there and the last one on the right. It's completely empty. And then if you go to the back, it's just like a neighborhood. But if you go to the back, you can see the balconies. Again, I don't know why. I always get screwed whenever I have a balcony or some kind of view because, see, this is where the balconies were. Mine was the second one, so the one in the middle. But like, look at my view. It was a tree. So be careful when they say that they have a balcony because sometimes the balcony is just pointless. And that was my last apartment. So I'm not going to show you guys the apartment I live in now because the one I live in now is my favorite. But again, I don't want people knowing where I live right now. But those three were the ones that started my whole LA journey. And I want to start doing more videos where I talk about my whole journey of moving to LA and everything that's around here. So if there's anything you want to know about LA and want to hear it from someone who just packed up and moved everything and just get my experience on it, I definitely want to do more videos. So look out for that playlist on my YouTube. I'll see you guys next time.